Take a backpack over a purse chick. Never at your service. Here for your worst days. Don't it sound perfect? I know what I bring to the table, to the table. I know what I bring to the table, to the table.
What's good, y'all? It's your girl Deezy, your new best friend, back with another one. And if you're new here, hi, welcome to the channel. I got a lot of new subscribers the past couple weeks, so I appreciate that so much. If you like this video, please make sure to smash that like button. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and do that because we're awesome, okay? Today we're going to do a little bit of a different video, okay? And I know some of you guys peeped the title and you're like, we're going to fight.
Oh, oh my God.
Like, is this shade? What is this? I did that for two reasons. One, obviously, it's a catchy title. But two, please be clear, anytime somebody skinny asks you how you're able to be so confident being plus size, they're really asking you why you're not fat and miserable. Now, of course, that's not always the case, and I haven't been on YouTube very long, so I don't get this question a lot on YouTube as much as I do in real life, and this is a question that I have gotten my whole life, okay? And just to be clear, because there's always going to be somebody out there in the comments talking about, girl, you're not even plus size. Look, we all have fupas, okay? Listen, we all have fupas and visible belly lines and all of that. I weighed myself just for you guys and I am 244, okay, which isn't my highest, certainly not my lowest. So in a nutshell, this video is just about the tips that I use to maintain my self-confidence being a plus size woman. And y'all, we're gonna have to talk about that because I don't care if you consider yourself plus size, voluptuous, curvaceous, fluffy, I'm fat, okay? And not even with a PH, just a regular F, I'm fat. You can call yourself whatever you like. We're bigger women, okay? So I wanted to go ahead and go over some tips that have helped me maintain true self-confidence. And I say true self-confidence in a way not to shade anybody else, but I do know that there are people in the plus size community, and y'all know I hate that term already, who really put out this persona of being like very confident, very like body positive, and they're absolutely miserable and they spend all day on Instagram comparing their bodies to plus size models who have gotten BBLs and tummy tucks, okay? And that's okay too, because confidence is always shifting and always changing. And what I want to do is tell you guys how I have been able to master true self-confidence even when I am in sweatpants, hair tied, chilling with no makeup on, okay? True self-confidence from when I was at my highest, which was like 260 something, to my lowest, okay? Which I don't even remember when that was. That's how long ago it was. So first, a little bit, because you could count on me for two things. That's bad eyebrows and to talk too much. I'm going to kind of give you a backstory about how I have the confidence that I have. So growing up, I was always looked at as like bigger than most people because I'm from a state that is predominantly white, meaning that my body shape was not the standard norm from where I was from. So I always felt bigger and was a little bit bigger than everybody else. I was very shy. I was a complete pushover. I had no self-confidence. I actually was diagnosed with body dysmorphia disorder. And that was until I was 19. Now, when I was 19, I was offered a job at a company some of you may know called LA Weight Loss. LA Weight Loss is similar to like Weight Watchers or Jenny Craig. It's a place where people go to lose weight and they have meal plans and dietitians and meetings and things like that. So when I took this job, I took the job as a weight loss counselor and I worked my way up through the company. I became the assistant manager, a center manager, and then eventually went on at 19 years old to be their youngest regional manager of the Midwest that they had ever had, okay? So I say all that to say this. I learned so much working at that job. And the sad thing is what I would see every day is these miserable women who would come in who are absolutely fixated on the scale, to the point where they would bring their children in with them and their children were fixated on the scale. And they would say, Mommy, did you lose weight today? Or congratulations, Mommy. And it was just the saddest thing. These women would tell me stories about how they wouldn't take their children to the pool or to the park because they didn't wear things that show their arms or bathing suits. or how they're waiting to take trips to certain places until they lose so much weight, or women who have a closet full of clothes that they are just keeping until they reach a certain size, because that was all the rage back then, right? Was this ideology that if you buy a dress or your goal outfit, you're more than likely going to get to that goal weight, which is actually not true. So what I saw is that the women that were so miserable almost never reached their goal. And the women who truly came in and were just like, you know, I want to be healthy, I also want to look better, but the women who truly loved themselves at that moment in time were the ones who A, were the happiest, and B, actually reached their weight loss goal. So none of these women were living in the moment or loving themselves in the moment, which is tip number one. If you want to become truly self-confident, have self-esteem, you need to love yourself where you are today. Jiggly arms and all. We all are in different stages and phases of our being overweight, but that should not stop you from loving you truly who you are right now. And it sounds good to say that, but it is quite another thing to really do that. And it takes a lot of self-reflection. And it takes a lot of work. It's really something, you know, it sounds cool to hashtag, but it's something that you have to truly be able to sit with yourself in this moment and say, if I did not lose another pound, I would love myself just as much. Because the reality is that none of us are promised tomorrow. And I guarantee that if you didn't wake up tomorrow, you would not give a damn about the weight that you are now. And you would go to the swimming pool with your children and you would regret not wearing all of the clothes that you wanted to wear. And I made a decision at that young age of 19 that I would never be one of those people who like was living my life for something that may happen in the future. And I made that decision and I stuck to that, because tomorrow is never guaranteed, and I will be damned if I'm gonna let my weight stop me from doing something just because of what I'm afraid other people will say. So that is number one, which is to live in the moment and love yourself in this moment. Now, two, I mentioned that I grew up in a state that was predominantly white. I always went to schools where I was almost always the only biracial or mixed person. Very often in my roles in my companies, I'm the only woman and overweight, you know, person of color. Point being is that I had to get really comfortable with being uncomfortable. See, this is the part that is not as glamorous to talk about on these videos that all of these YouTubers do about being confident. This is the stuff that's not as fun, right? But the reality is that until you get comfortable with being uncomfortable, you will never gain true self-confidence. So it's one thing to advocate and tell women, you know, if you want to wear a bathing suit, first try wearing it around the house. And, you know, if you want to wear lingerie, first wear it for yourself before you show it to anybody else. And those are so great. Those things are very great. But the reality is that confidence is just like any other muscle. And if you do not flex that muscle, you will never become strong in that area. So you need to become comfortable with the uncomfortable. Eventually, you will need to venture out in shorts if you don't wear shorts. And you will have to push yourself. And it is so uncomfortable, but I promise the more that you do that, the easier it will become. I, for one, have a huge fear of driving. And one of the cures is exposure therapy, which literally just means to drive in as many uncomfortable positions as you can and situations as you can till you literally just become comfortable and desensitized to that. And so if you're truly looking to gain self-confidence and self-esteem in the body that you have now, right? Because that was part of our first thing, is that you have got to flex your muscle of confidence and self-esteem. And you've got to use that until slowly but surely it becomes nothing to go outside wearing a two-piece and you don't give a damn what people say. So that is my second tip, is you have got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You've got to be comfortable being the only big girl in the club or the only big girl wherever you're at, just because that is the only way that you're going to build up your self-confidence. Now for my third tip, again guys, I'm telling you, everything that has to do with self-esteem, confidence, it all has to do with your mental mind state, right? So number 3 is accepting the fact that you're not always going to be the baddest bitch in the room. And that's just real. And that's just facts. At any given moment, there is going to be somebody who looks better than you. Your husband works with somebody that looks better than you. Your friends may look better than you. You may go to a club where people look better than you. You will always be in rooms where people look better than you. And sometimes that person may be you. And that's awesome. And that's not to say that you can't think like, girl, I don't know what you're talking about. I am the HBIC. Okay? That's not to say that you cannot have that, because that is awesome, right? That is exactly what we want. The point being, though, is that you have to understand that there is no amount of weight that you can lose. Your waist could be snatched to the gods, and there will still be somebody who's better looking than you by conventional standards. And that's okay.
You guys are just jealous because all of my friends that know me tell me that I remind them of Beyonce. So you can...
And here's the key, y'all. Self-confidence and self-esteem is not thinking at all times that you're the best looking person in the room. It's knowing that sometimes you're not and still having confidence in spite of that, okay? It's being able to be in a room full of bad bitches and being comfortable with being able to be in that room and feeling like I'm cool with being here. Again, it has to deal with being comfortable, being uncomfortable, and also living in the moment and knowing that in this moment, I'm gonna have fun regardless. I'm gonna party regardless. And I don't give a damn about how many bad bitches are in here. I'm a bad bitch. So that is the third thing, is that you have to accept that there will always be somebody better looking than you. And you've got to get off of social media and stop letting social media make you feel bad about yourself. That used to be me, and I'm telling you, I can go on my Instagram Explorer page all day, and it does not affect me. Seeing those women and their snatched bodies does not affect me, doesn't inspire me? Absolutely. And do I think that those women are beautiful? Hell yeah. And am I happy for them? And do I want to look the best that I, possibly can? Absolutely. But I can tell you, and this is my God's honest truth, that I do not come off of social media feeling like shit. And if you do, that is a trigger for you, and you need to work on flexing that muscle of becoming uncomfortable, stretching your wings, and being able to grow in your self-confidence. So my fourth tip is that realizing that lack of self-confidence and self-esteem is just fear. It's all fear-based, right? Because when we lack self-esteem and self-confidence, it's because we are fearful of what somebody might say, or we are fearful about how people will react to our bodies when we wear a dress, or when we decide to do certain things, or when we're at the pool in a two-piece. It's all fear-based. And the only way to attack fear is to go through it. It is the only way that you will conquer that fear, is to go through it and face it head on and ask yourself, why do I allow myself to feel this fear? To make that decision to stop living from a place of fear, because when you live from a place and you act from a place of fear, you will never achieve your higher self. And fear and lack of self-confidence and lack of self-esteem all just has to do with fear. And then for my last tip,
you know what else? I don't give a fuck.
it's as simple as that. I truly just don't have the fucks to give. It's not because I am the prettiest girl, because I'm absolutely not. It's not because I just have the confidence and self-esteem of a supermodel, because no, it's not that. It's that I have so much on my plate, and there are so much bigger things to worry about than what people say about my roles, or what people think about my stomach hanging over my pants, or the fact that, you know, that I have cellulite that shows through my leggings. I just don't have it to give. And that is very healthy, and studies show that it is very healthy to have a certain level of not giving a fuck. I've always said, and my friends can attest to this, that I have been this way for years. If you don't write my check and you don't share blood or my last name, I struggle to give a fuck. I really do. If I go to the pool, I'm probably never going to see those people again. So they're going to get all of this cellulite. They're going to get all of these rolls because you know what? It's hot and I'm enjoying the sun. And that's just what it is. If you guys like this video, I hope to do more videos like this. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Make sure that you drop a comment and a like. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.